Good morning. Welcome to the Positive Living Center. I'm going to have Leo have a chair. Get yourself all settled in. Good morning. We're still working out the logistics of Zoom and presentation and all the things that it takes to come together to create this gathering. And we don't want to leave out the folks that are at home and across the country. We want them included with us. And we love seeing Angelo, and Vivi is on the screen, and looks like Michelle is there. Is that you, Joyce? It's Joyce. So it grows and we grow together. This is the year of creating a healthy lifestyle. And we'd like to welcome any new guests. Anybody's here for the first time? Come on in, Sandy. In the seat in front of you is the beliefs of the Positive Living Center. You're welcome to take those cards with you if you'd like to put them on an altar or have them somewhere where you can just be reminded. I like to read mine every once in a while just to keep myself back into that sense of balance. Today is February 13th, 2022. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Know that love goes every day. And as we go into our collective meditation, I believe John Lalonde will be making some exquisite music, and Kim's getting the lights. We're going to set a mood here.
Morning, everyone. All right.
That sacred space, that place where our body relaxes, our mind relaxes. We are right here, right now, together, awakening to all the potential that we hold within. As we come back to our bodies, we thank John Lalonde for his beautiful music. Are you ready? Our spiritual thought for today is LJ Pool.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, okay. So beautiful. Here we go. Okay, logistics aside. The themes this month: wholeness, spiritual, healthy emotions, mental, balance, physical. At the front of the Science of Mind textbook, just after the cover, is a dedication. I've changed it slightly to modernize it, but it's mostly the same. These lessons are dedicated to truth, which frees us and sets us on the pathway of a new experience, enabling us to see through the mist to the eternal and changeless reality. I've had many new experiences since starting the path of science of mind and new thought. Many new experiences. Many words have changed their meaning for me, transformed what I feel when I experience those words. Some of them are surrender, witness, love, mindfulness, and God. In the beginning, on the word surrender, in the beginning, for me, surrender was throwing in the towel, quitting, and giving up. When I started, that's what I mostly thought of. I knew we were to surrender to God, but I'm going, is it God, the church? Is it the organization? Is it, I had all kinds of skeptical ideas on surrender. And then over time, shifted. The meaning shifted to letting go. To letting go of beliefs that no longer serve me. To letting go of hurts and clutter. Mental clutter. To just letting go, surrendering it, letting it go. And more recently, surrendering is related to living. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's related to living. It's related to living in the moment. It's related to turning to and tuning in to an aspect of being that we all have, that we all are, that children shine without any effort or attention whatsoever. that the child in us shines when we least expect it. Seeing and listening to the fixed good, as Emma Curtis Hopkins calls it. When I was reading on the words of our themes, wholeness and balance, the saying whole, perfect, and complete came up into my mind, and I was reflecting in the Science of Mind textbook on whole, perfect, and complete. And as I did, there's this part where Ernest Holmes is teaching us that the law is this impersonal principle that works for us. And the Christ in us, the Christ mind that we all have and say yes to in our own ways, that the Christ mind was very significant in the whole of our being. I found that interesting because there was this cute little quote at the end of The Healing Power of Balanced Emotions by Frederick Bale that I read some on when I did the last talk. But there's this part that he comments on the power of the Christos. And I was only going to read the very last part because it's yummy. But I think I need to read this whole section because there's so much in it. So here's the gift from Frederick Bales on the power of the Christos. People think of disease in terms of curability or incurability, or they think a certain condition ought to take a week or a month to heal. For example, a person catches cold. He dabs away at it, thinks, oh, well, it will be gone in a week when it runs its course. But within the scope of the Christos power, that course could run in an hour or a minute. Instantaneous healing is merely the compressing of a time lapse into a shorter one. Perhaps we should say it is exchanging time for consciousness. By surface massage and warmth, a limb may be restored in a few months. When that same limb is healed through spiritual treatment, it is the same process compressed in time. When Jesus healed the paralyzed man, time was compressed into a second. From our human ancestry, we have been bound by the concept of time. When we move over into the timeless Christos, we shall cease to block our healing by thinking that a certain time is required. Every cell of the body knows how to repair or renew itself. Our limited consciousness hinders them from doing it instantly. Let us develop the constantly expanding consciousness that this moment is all time compressed into a moment. Let us know that there are both willingness and power. Let us know that there are both willingness and power to heal. We take the stretched out concertina of time and press it gently but firmly together. Now, at this moment, in my body, or that of the person whom I am treating, there is an instant Christos power. The Logos, word, door, river of life, the way, truth, and the life, the infinite healing presence. The Christos is me now. In me now replaces everything that is unlike its own perfection, and I am healed. And here's that last paragraph. Out of the Christos comes the power. Out of the power comes the quiet mind. Out of the quiet mind come the balanced emotions. And out of the balanced emotion comes the healing. And so it is.
That was beautiful, Jane. we have John Milan to give us some more beautiful music for our day.
February is History Month, and I like to play a African American spiritual. I did play on Zoom a while ago with a different flute without amplification, and I like this song. I like the melody of it, and I especially like the lyrics, which I'm not going to share with you. But the title is "Wade in the Water, Wade in the Water, Children," and it has religious purposes. It has water imagery that relates to healing, and it has some hidden message that is sometimes imparted through spirituals. And this one was to children as they were escaping slavery to stay in the water and avoid detection. I just like the song.
We're so fortunate to have all this talent together in this gathering. So many people contribute so much to make this happen. And speaking of contributing, we have Bob Hand as our main spiritual guide.
Thank you all. It's nice to see all of you here and all of you on Zoom. I'm supposed to be some.
You're doing
Okay. I
giant.
tried to grow my mustache out because I think the people on Zoom kind of are looking up your nose. I wasn't going to say that, but when she adjusted. LJ told you earlier the themes for this month, and I'm going to talk about flexibility and adaptability, two of the themes for June of this year. Now, there's a couple of possible reasons why I'm talking about the themes for June. One reason, and I think this is the most likely reason, is that, like LJ talked about, some kind of miraculous time compression occurred, and we are actually now in June of this year. Or the other reason is I just got confused. So either confusion or time compression, I'm talking about flexibility and adaptability. But people don't really like that. We like absolutes, right? We want to know exactly. You're planning a big picnic. You're getting everything together. You turn on the news and the forecaster says, well, there's a 50% chance of rain. Don't you want to reach in that television and shake it? Is it going to rain or is it not going to rain? I want to know. You know, you're applying for, you found a perfect house you want to buy. Ah, I got it. I'm making my offer. I don't want anybody else to get in there. The bank's looking at it. I call them. Am I going to get the loan? Well, we're looking at it. Maybe you're going to. We don't want maybe. We want to know absolutes. And we want absolutes in our spiritual beliefs as well. People have thought that way. Every major religion, there's at least some people in that religion who says the teachings that were developed thousands of years ago are the absolute truth. I mean, there's people who, many people who believe that the Bible, word for word, is absolute truth of God. Even if there are numerous Bibles, I mean, there's the Catholic Bible, there's the Eastern Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, different Protestant groups, but they believe that the Bible in their hand is word for word the absolute truth, even though they may have to do a little mental yoga twisting to get that. The universe was created in 6 days. Well, yeah, science says it's maybe 14 billion years, but you know what? Those could be God's days. Those are divine days, and each divine day might be about 2 billion years. So it's absolutely correct. And I'm not sure why we think that thousands of years ago, people had it all together. And we can't change anything from what they thought of. I mean, take geometry. Geometry was developed somewhere around 5,000 years ago, and it was darn good geometry. The Egyptians built their pyramids using it, one of the wonders of the world. The Babylonians built their juggernauts, one of which is the Tower of Babel story came from. I mean, this was good geometry that lets you do a lot of good things. But a few thousand years ago or later, the Greeks improved it and they made better geometry. And a few thousand years later, we came up with differential calculus, which is even better math. Nobody said, well, the original geometry must be absolute and we're not going to change it so that we can do things better. But we kind of get these things in our mind. In science, again, maybe 3,500 years ago or something, they came up with the idea of the humors. And the Mesopotamians and the Egyptians had this. And humor means liquid. It was about the liquid in our bodies. And that's what determined disease. And this went on for thousands of years. The Greeks kind of organized it more. There were the 4 liquids: blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. Doesn't make a human being sound very appealing, does it? But it's the imbalance of those humors that causes illness. And this literally went into the 18th century. And they changed it some, but George Washington, he went out for a ride one day and it was raining and he got wet, but dinner was being served. And I guess he was a hungry kind of guy because he didn't want to delay dinner. So he went and ate in this wet clothes. And the next day he was very sick and he had a sore throat. And he brought one of his staff in to help him. They bled him, took blood out of him. Because the idea of the humors is that some of this blood may be bad, and that's what's causing you to get sick. And that didn't work. So they brought in 3 different doctors. You know what those doctors did, each one of them? They bled him. Now, we don't know exactly what George Washington died of, but one of the main theories is he died of anemia, of lack of blood, because they thought the blood was out of balance, and that's what caused the illness. Now, in about the 1850s, there was a doctor, a hospital in London, and they delivered babies there. And maybe about 7 out of every 100 mothers actually died in the process from what was called childhood fever. And then they changed the policy in the hospital. You're not going to like this, gross, but the doctors were all required to do autopsies because I guess they had too many people dying. And the doctors would literally do those autopsies, go in and deliver babies. And the death rate more than doubled. And this doctor's going, why is this? And he looked at this other little clinic where there were midwives who he noted were washing their hands before the deliveries, and deaths of the mothers were at a very minimum. Now, that was just the beginning. Everybody thought he was nuts when he said it wasn't humors that were killing people. But from that developed the idea that it's not the imbalance of the blood, but these other things, germs that are in the blood. Medical science was slow, but it got there. And religion's like that. Religion has this amazing staying power of thousands of years, and often people are even fighting and killing each other because each of them are sure they have the absolute truth. And even religions that aren't that old, religions that started a couple of 100 years ago or so, often have that same thing. Our founders said this, he got it directly from God, and it is absolute truth. You're not going to change that. But new thought is a little different, isn't it? New thought comes from basically the book Science of Mind, written by Ernest Holmes. Now, he wrote it, you might not realize this, but almost a century ago, about 96 years ago. And you know what he did? He was flexible, he adapted. So he took ideas that had been around for several thousand years from the Bible, and he adapted them. So in the Bible, Moses is talking to God. He had a little conversation with him, and God's telling him to go take the Jews out of Egypt. And Moses said, well, who should I tell them sent me? What's your name? And he said, my name is I am that I am. Tell them I am sent you. And that's the Christian and Jewish belief. But Holmes took that and he adapted it. And he said, the I am comes from each of us. That's when we are becoming conscious of our place in the world. That's the awakening of our consciousness when we say, I am. Among the Jewish and Christian beliefs, Moses taking the people out of Egypt is a historical fact. That's all it is. It's just history. But Holmes adapted that. And he says, no, what it really is an allegory, a metaphysical thing. Moving out of Egypt is what happens to each of us because our minds are in bondage to all of this stuff in the world that's been given to us. It's locking us down. And moving out of Egypt, coming out of Egypt, is coming out of that bondage. And so he adapted ideas. He took, later the Christians developed the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. And he took that and said, well, really though, it's metaphysical. The Holy Trinity is the spiritual self-knowledge, the spiritual law or action, and then the results or the body of what happens. And so the concept of adapting to what's been given to us and taking it and making it into a belief system that gives us better lives is what New Thought is about. And adapting what's brought to us, what we have, and adapting it is what's made humanity flourish forever. They found that somewhere around 16,000 years ago, people were in the New World. They were in North America. But they were only along the coast, the West Coast. That's the only place we found any evidence of it. Now, we don't know exactly why that's true. But one of the things they found is a few spearheads, the stone heads that go onto a spear. And these were shaped, they were conical, they're kind of shaped like a long bullet, round and thin and smooth. Now, those were pretty good hunting tools. You could kill some animals with them. But in the interior were big animals. There were woolly mammoths, there were the big bison, there were a lot of big animals. And one of the theories is the reason people didn't move off the coast is because that wasn't a good enough hunting tool, so they depended a lot on the fish and stuff they got from the water. And then about 13,000 years ago, they found something else. The first one was found in Clovis, New Mexico, and it's called a Clovis Point. It's a different kind of spearhead. Somebody said, you know what? Yes, we're putting this shaped piece of stone on the end of this wooden rod, but it's not very good. It doesn't do the job. How can we do it better? And somebody, of course, we have no idea who, the patent offices were all closed at that time, so we didn't get it. Somebody made a different kind of spearhead, and it's flat, and the sides are fluted, so it's razor sharp. And it's wider, so it makes a bigger hole with a sharper point, and it's a much more effective hunting tool. And they found evidence of those people all across North America. They spread and flourished. Why? Well, one of the reasons is no doubt because somebody took what they were given and they adapted it to make for a better life that they could flourish with. And that's what we can do with New Thought, because Holmes gave us something. He gave us these adapted Christian beliefs, but he gave us a lot more than that. He gave us the freedom, the encouragement to adapt. And you know what? We have access to things that it's not that they weren't there, but Holmes probably didn't have a lot of access to. And we can adapt not only the Christian teachings, but the teachings that the Christians rejected, like the Gospel of Thomas. We can adapt the teachings of Taoism, the teachings of Buddhism, and many other religions. And beyond that, we have the knowledge of physics, astronomy, biology, paleontology, and we have the freedom to take all of that in and adapt it within our belief system. I mean, we are in an unprecedented time. Do you know that every one of you, every single one of you, either because of books, I mean, we have free public libraries, because of books and because of the internet, you have access to more information than the best scholars in the world would have had in the past. Each one of us has access to that information. And what do we do with it? Now, just taking in more information doesn't make you more spiritual. You have knowledge, but no wisdom. But when you take that information, when you take this stuff that divine spirit has put here for us, and you take that and you apply it to your spiritual belief, and you adapt what you've been given and adapt it with all of the new access that you have, then I'll tell you this, you create a brighter divine light within you, and a divine light that can flow out, can shine out, and make a better world for all people.
And so it is. That was wonderful. Makes me want to go dig in the dirt. That would be my soul, I think, going in there and excavating. Thank you. Thank you, Bob Hand. Wow. So this is just a reminder that next week is our healing circle, and that it's the third Sunday of every month, and that we can bring our issues, our thoughts, our processing into a group dynamic and pray together and work on healing ourselves as we go with him. I'd like to ask our volunteers for the offertory to come up. We want to thank you for your financial support for the Positive Living Center, that we're a nonprofit organization and that it's funded by donations by you, and your generosity and continues to bring the power of love. Thank you. And the ability to transform lives and build, keep this building going and build community together. And if you'll say with me the offertory prayer, divine love flowing through me, blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. And I know that Missy can place on her chat box the information for our Zoom participants to be able to connect and help us keep together, keep that energy flowing together. You can also go to the website of the PLC. That's on iFocus, is that correct? And I wanted to thank LJ for all the work that you do on iFocus. It's a constant change. There's always something new, some new information. And Patty Hummel is continually giving her time. And all the people that focus on helping everything grow together. That's what we're looking for. Thank you so much, LJ, and everyone else that often is very invisible in our world. I'd like to know if there's any announcements. And if you'll come up to the podium, we'll make it a little bit easier for everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
I don't know if not everyone really knows who I am, but I'm the president of the board of this organization. And my name is Laura Haith. And this is a work in progress, but I am in the middle of creating a binder that kind of tells you who we are. And so far what I've gotten is each of the people that are on the board have written a little bio about themselves, just a little 1 page or half a page thing, so that you guys can kind of know who we are. And it's a work in progress. Eventually I wanted to talk to you about this, but I think it would be really nice if all of the ministers and the practitioners wrote a little bio about themselves and we could put it in our book. And also for transparency, there's a section in this book about our financials. And I have a profit and loss statement for the whole year of 2021. Kind of see where the money's gone and where we're at. And then each month I'll do a new one for the current month. So we're almost at the end of this month. So at the first week in March, I'll be able to put the one for February in there. So my intention is to be totally transparent and put it in here every month so you can see where we're at. And my contact information is also in here. If you ever have any questions about anything, let me know. I'll talk to you. Happy to talk to you. So anyway, it's a work in progress. This is what it looks like. And it's going to be in the little library on the table in there. So I just wanted to share it with you so you know to look at it if you'd like to see.
Thank you. It makes my heart sing that we are moving towards that shift and change that Bob Hans spoke about, because everything must shift and change. Are there any more announcements? I'd like to make another little announcement. We had a great drum circle last night and a beautiful flute circle. And you can come to the flute circle and listen, get inspired. You can come to the drum circle and feel those vibrations also. One that came. And I have a little request. If you know anyone that you haven't seen here for a while, friends that have come to the PLC and didn't know we have reopened, it would be wonderful if you invited them back. Or if you have social media, and I put announcements on every once in a while, just so that people know we've returned and our doors are open and we're all happy to see each other. It's really important. Best. And our prayer partner is during the week, during the month, in issues where we need to have some extra energy, is Joe Bull. And he's our practitioner that heads up. We have a little frog box in the back that you can write your prayer requests. And together we work on that. Just know that you're not alone. That there's always that essence of creation within yourself. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. We all need that. It's important. Next week's speaker is Brenda Negley. And I'm sure you want to participate because she's always got something wonderful to say. It's funny when Bob was talking about that this is really June for the focuses. I didn't say what we were going to be focusing on because I wasn't sure either. So I really appreciate that, Bob. Now it's time for the prayer of protection. If you say it with me, and if you don't know it, it's on the card in the seat behind you or in front of you. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. But if in this closing treatment, if you'll hold Sandy West in your prayers, she didn't come today because she has a migraine. We'll just send her some loving energy. Know that she's whole and complete in all ways, and that we are a support system also for everyone. We come together knowing that there is so much more to who we are, that each and every person here and on Zoom and in the community and in our world holds grace in their hearts, holds loving energy. It can heal and shift, change old awareness into a loving dynamic. We are rich and full of magic, and we can share that out in the world with your smile, with the attitude, caring and helping each other. Gratitude, respect, and wholeness. Fill us with all the peace we can hold. And in this knowing, we walk with clarity, and generosity, and forgiveness in our hearts. And we go in every moment. And so it is. John, would you play another song, or have you packed up? Just play us out. I love to make John impromptu.
I'll be available.
And LJ is available for prayer treatment as a practitioner for today.
Or not with
Whoa. Thank you. Everyone have a beautiful, blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Everybody can unmute and say goodbye to everybody.
Bye.
Have a wonderful week.
You too, thank you.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Missy,
Uh-huh.
I don't have your email. Do you